Good afternoon. Welcome to the Business Boardcast. I'm Nikki Larkin. I'm the host today, and I'm delighted that I have with me Helen Phillips. She's from from Mustard Advisors, and she is a business advisor. Nice to see you, Helen. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to this.
Pleasure. So what we're talking about today is time management for business owners. So all those business owners out there, we've all had the days where we need to be in 3 different places. We're asked to do everything from the accounting to the marketing to the sales. How do we balance all those things without going crazy or burning ourselves out? So Helen advises lots of business owners on a one-to-one basis, and she's really ideal for helping us in this today because she's got such brilliant experience at helping them on a one-to-one basis of transforming their lives, because what we all want is to be business owners and not to be doing anything. No, we want to be business owners where we're confident that everything's happening and we are doing the things that we like to do. Okay, so starting off, Helen, how did you get to know so much about time management?
Well, it's really because I was so rubbish at it myself. It's something I've always struggled with, and sort of throughout my career, I've always been driven by wanting to help people, which means then that I never want to say no, because you can see that what you do will really help. I'm always super optimistic about how long it's going to take me to do something. So I think, oh yeah, I can just do that, and so I often overcommit, and then you either end up, you understand, you've been there yourself, with you're a senior manager in a company. This stuff you have to do. You end up working all the hours God sends, and then you're not happy because you're not satisfied. You're not doing a great job. The other things, I'm really easily distracted by new, shiny, interesting things going on in my life. And I have a habit of procrastinating over things which are really important, because I want to get them right. So I can spend all day thinking about how I'm going to get them right instead of actually getting on with it. So that's really my background. Is I was really poor at time management, and I've had to learn myself, and now I help other people.
Indeed, and some people think, oh, there's people out there that manage to run a business, have thousands of staff and have big families and do all sorts of other extracurricular stuff, and you think, how on earth do they do it? But it's still the same basics for all of them, and you will find that all of them have had their own struggles as well with balancing. Or no one 100% times thinks, all right, no, it's great, I'm doing enough time with my work, or I'm doing having enough time with my family or my friends. There's always a balance, and we all need help at maintaining that balance. I just wanted to check as well, because I know that there has been some problems with other streamers over this week of their links into LinkedIn and YouTube, etc. So do, as always, please do feel free to say hi into the comments so that we know you're there. But also, more importantly, we want this to be a really useful session. So if you have a burning question, or even just a little question for Helen, do let us know, and I will try and include it as we go along. So you've been super honest about, you've been able to develop your processes and skills and everything on time management because you had this exact problem yourself. So why do business owners, we've acknowledged business owners have this problem, but why do they have this problem with and find it so difficult to manage their time?
I suppose it starts with, you start a business because you really love what you do, and so it's so easy to get dragged into that. And then as the business grows, nobody else can do things as well as you do, so you end up, you become the go-to person in the business and the person with all of the answers. And so And then, so, you know, there's the stuff that you think that you're the only person that can do it, or if somebody else does it, they don't do it as well as you. And we're subject to lots of conflicting priorities too. You know, we want to be excellent at customer service. So if a customer says jump, you say, you know, how high and when can I jump? And then the things that are important get left to the last minute. So the things that are important become urgent. And so it's this constant juggling of priorities, I think, and it's very difficult for people to figure out what's really important and what they should be doing.
Yeah. And obviously of what's happened yesterday with sad passing the Queen, more and more people are, you know, it's another time for reflection, thinking about what is important and making sure that, you know, what is the thing that you're going to be thinking about at the end of your life? Are you going to be thinking, oh, I should have been in the office more? Or is it, no, actually, I should have spent time on sailing or with family or whatever else it might be? So, you know, this is really key core life skills that's applicable to business owners, but also the managers, the employees, to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so that 100, well, however much you want to value it, £100 million question. What's the answer, Helen?
Well, time's the one thing we can't get back. You know, you can borrow money, but you can't borrow time. And so we need to think about how we spend our time as an investment. Excuse me. And for me, the breakthrough moment was realizing that I could choose how I spent my time. You know, just not sitting there thinking, oh, I've got all this stuff to do, but actually I can sit down and decide how I want to spend my time. And I don't have to be driven by other people's priorities. And it's a simple process. It's just like improving any other processes. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And then figure out some steps that are going to get you there. So I think the place to start is very much understanding how you're spending your time. And I use a software. I use software called Toggle, which really, really easy to use. It's mostly free. I mean, obviously the paid for version gives you more facilities, but it allows you to capture how you're spending your time in real time. The thing about timesheets is it's how you thought you spent your time, not necessarily how you actually spent your time. And then you can analyze it by category. So how much time you're spending on sales, admin, you know, business development, managing people, and so on. And then it's really important. Everything you do, hopefully, apart from drinking tea, is going to be adding value to business. And you do need to remain hydrated, obviously. So tea drinking is important. But different things have different values to the business. So I like to think in terms of £10 tasks, £100 tasks, £1,000 tasks. And a £1,000 task is something that's complex, something that requires a lot of knowledge and expertise, probably something that only you or your senior team can do. But it adds lots of value to your business. Then the £100 tasks, they've still got some elements of complexity and they might be special to your business and they require some sort of skill. But there's something that if you put the time and effort in and you give people clear guidelines, you can train somebody else to do those. And then the £10 tasks are often the things that we think, oh, I'll just do this. And then you find that after 2 hours, you've just spent 2 hours doing silly little things, which, you know, each one of them, yes, it has to be done, but any one of those tasks could easily have been done by somebody else. And I think that's such a drain on people's time is I'll just do this. I'll just respond to this email. I'll just get this thing out of the way. And before you know it, you've wasted half your day doing little things that are not going to add value to your business. And somebody else could do them quicker and better than you quite often. You know, business owners doing their own bookkeeping, doing their own payroll, things like that. It's generally much easier. And in the long term, you think about how much is it going to cost me to outsource that particular aspect of what I do or bring somebody in to do that compared to the value I could be adding to my business if I was using that time to do something else. So
absolutely. Yeah. And so that's analyzing and some people, so you can do that of your time as you're going along, so you can see what have you done over a period of time and analyze it. And then in a short-term thing, I know that I've had people advise as well, is like, look at your to-do list. Look at what are the things are actually critical that you do versus, like you say, am I really the person that needs to order the stationery or, whatever else it might be, and split them out and delegate. And that's like, I suppose that's where time management versus delegation skills, because that was from a delegation training session, actually, that was from. So but that they're very interlinked, aren't they? Time management and delegation.
Oh, yeah, very much so, because the £1,000 tasks might be the tasks that you can do, but the £100 tasks are the ones to delegate. And delegation is a whole skill, that people can learn and people can get better at.
Yes.
So indeed. I was going to say, you mentioned about, we talked earlier about things that make the boat go faster. You look at your to-do list. And
if you haven't realised, Helen is a massive sailor, and she's got. You said you've got sails in your office.
Yes.
If we were looking at
yes, so they're kind of out of sight. Yes. Office, storeroom, everything. Yes. Yeah. So when you're looking at your to-do list, you've got to think in terms of what are the things that are really going to be important, what are the things that add value to your business. And there's a fab book about, it's actually not about sailing, but it comes from a rowing thing, but it was all about the British rowing team looking at all of the things that make the boat go faster. And in their case, it was the whole picture, like the nutrition and the training and everything else. And so when you sit down at the start of a day to think, what am I going to do? Look at the tasks that you've got in front of you, and what is the most important thing that's going to have the biggest impact on your business achieving its goals. And that's the thing to tackle first. And that's the thing to allocate time to and set time aside for.
Absolutely. So what sort of things have you seen? How bad does it get sometimes with business owners?
Oh, I've come across business owners that are working till 3 a.m. and back up again at 5. And the problem with that is the impact not just it has on their business, because the quality of their decision making is really poor, but also the impact it has on their health and their family life. If you've got young kids, they're only 9 once. You miss that whole opportunity to see your kids growing up, and it just becomes a vicious circle. Then you lose sleep because you're worried about work. It's horrendous, and quite often it's because then people get to the stage where they haven't got time to think, and they haven't got time to decide how to spend their time. It's quite difficult to break out of that cycle if it gets that bad.
Indeed. So so it's worth spending some time with someone like Helen, or reading, or whatever it is to tackle this, because it's it's not just helping the bottom line of your business, it's helping your health, it's helping your relationships. It's such a massive impact. People are still going on at me about how much I work, but I work so much less than I used to. I did do some crazy hour things, but I still work a good amount of time, but I enjoy it, so it's okay, and it's sustainable, the level I'm working now. But it makes such a difference, and the things like that Helen's done, at looking at what you're actually spending your time on, and it's amazing how many time suckers that are out there. One thing that I do is the critical things, and critical, but also the things I want to do, they're booked into the diary, so they're sacrosanct, and then everything else goes around there. But it's and it's not just a one-off. Sometimes it's important to come back and refresh, isn't it, as well, Helen? Because you can creep back into old habits.
Yeah, and I like to set a budget for my time in the same way as you'd set a budget for your business. And because in the early days when I was sort of building my business, I'd go to a networking meeting and then I'd end up with a diary full of coffee appointments. And remember those days when we used to drive half an hour to have a half an hour coffee with somebody and drive half an hour back, which just seems, it's crazy, isn't it? But I just got to the stage where I'm thinking, actually, I've got no time to spend with my clients this week, which is no good because that's how I get paid. And so what I decided was, how much of my time am I going to spend with clients, and actually the best time of day for me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings is when I'm at my best. That is client time, sacrosanct. And then Mondays and Fridays are stuff, working on the business. And then the afternoons then is when I do the coffee meetings and the networking and all of that sort of stuff. So I've set aside time in my diary that nobody can put an appointment on a Wednesday morning into my diary. That's sacrosanct for clients. And if I haven't got a client appointment on a Wednesday morning, then what I'll do is I'll use that as an opportunity either to do something about my business, or maybe to learn something, or to prepare something for a client. And I find it really helpful color coding it, so that as you start
I have color coded as well. I have it so I can have a quick visual to check I have the right balance, because my succession planning business planning work I have as yellow, my seeing orange clients I have as blue, and then I have another color for other stuff. So it's just then I have to see the visual, and I think if it's all yellow, then I'm neglecting the blue orange. So it's like it's just a quick visual as well to check you're getting the right balance.
And it works the other way. If your diary's a little bit quiet, then you think, well, actually, I need to put more. I need to go out and find more of this type of appointment and so on.
Yes, indeed. And you've also got to think, just coming back to these super people that you think, oh my god, how do they run? And it is because they've got key excellent people that they're able to delegate to. They're not the ones that are doing absolutely everything. They're very good at understanding the businesses at a high level and do take the time to read and find out what's going on in business, but they're not doing all that detail. They have key teams, and so it is so we're talking about time management today, but to get good time management, we need that good delegation, we need good management teams. All of these things end up tying together and really important.
I think it's almost as important to learn what not to do as it is to look at what to do. Being able to say no, or being able to say, actually, I can do that, but not now. And it's very tempting. A customer phones, you think, well, I've got to hop onto that straight away, but they don't necessarily need you to hop onto it straight away. As long as you and they can come to an agreement that says that they're going to get an answer by such and such a time and date, then it doesn't matter whether it's done today or tomorrow, as long as you're meeting their expectations.
You're absolutely right.
And they'll respect you for saying, I can do that, but not right now.
And that's something I've learned, because I when you first start a business, you're so grateful for having that client. You want to do everything immediately, but that's not sustainable long term. Then you have multiple clients, so it's important. Whereas I'm still sometimes in the mode of now, and then you've got employees that might put it on it's a too hard to-do list. And so it's finding that balance, and it's about the communication with client of saying, okay, when is it good, and then getting that right time so it works for you in your balancing, but also keeps your client happy. Absolutely. So what do they need to do next, Helen? What's the key learnings?
I think the number one thing is about having a very clear idea of what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, and then every day reminding yourself of that and saying, what is the most important thing I can do today that's going to help me to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. And then after that, it's finding somebody that can hold you to account, whether that's, I mean, ideally somebody like me, a business advisor, but it could be a fellow business owner in a different sort of business that perhaps you can just kind of hold each other to account, or even a buddy, because it's really difficult to do this on your own. Some
Well, like
people
a peer
do have,
group.
yeah, some
Yeah.
people have tremendous self-discipline, but they're probably not the ones that have a problem with time management. But if if you're struggling, find somebody that's going to hold you to account. And
yeah, no, absolutely. The gold standard is having an amazing business advisor, someone like yourself, that can hold you to account, make you have those regular conversations, understand you, and make sure you are doing it. And sort of probably, second option is either having a buddy or being part of a peer group, one of those sorts of things.
Yeah,
that can help if it as long as it's in a safe space.
Chatham House rules and all that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Absolutely. One thing that I've had various people do over the years as well. You've got the thing about, will it make the boat go faster? Callously is that going to get me extra money into the bank? It's the same sort of thing. If you've got to work out what works for you and what that little mantra in your head is going to help, but having that little mantra that helps you focus really does help, doesn't it? So,
and quite often people have a struggle because things like business development and marketing activity and the sort of strategic stuff doesn't have an immediate return. And so it's tempting to work on the stuff that's going to give you can I invoice this tomorrow? And trying to get that balance is really quite difficult, because it's how you spend your time is a long-term investment, not just for tomorrow or next week.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's incredibly helpful. Thank you so much, Helen. It's been really, really good. I know that I think a lot of people have taken today off the morning, which is absolutely understandable. So I think a lot of people will be watching this on catch up. So do feel free to contact Helen via LinkedIn. It's Helen Phillips and Mustard Advisors. And if you want to follow up with any extra questions or anything, do please contact Helen. Or if you are considering whether having a business advisor is the right thing for you and your organization, do have a chat with Helen, because she's super great and she's been recommended so highly from some really successful business advisors that we know. So it's she's this is. So sorry, Helen, but there's loads of business advisors out there which aren't worth anything. Whereas we know that Helen, she's absolutely worth it, and really, really has experience and delivers. Next week, we are, it's not a very cheerful subject, but we're going to be discussing redundancies, how to make sure that you do them in a compliant fashion. How do you plan for them? What are the time frames? What options are there instead of redundancy? So it'd be all things redundancy. I'm just still waiting the confirmation of which of my speakers is going to be the guest for that. But that will be on shown on LinkedIn Live very soon of who that will be. But in the meantime, thank you so much, Helen, for today. That was really, really useful. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, pleasure. And sorry, if we just had just a comment come up from Nigel. All we have to be there for clients. Often when we start the day, we have one plan for the sales course and customer service takeover. What are your suggestions? So there's a quick question. Nigel, got in just in the nick of time. What's your suggestion when things are?
I think it comes down to time blocking, because quite often with clients, they don't need an answer now. it's on their mind right now, and they need to be listened to now, but they don't necessarily need the answer straight away. I mean, sometimes they do. If they do, they do. But I can think of loads of times when I phoned up somebody, an advisor or software support or something, because that's the thing that's on my mind right now. But if you can sort of say to them, how is this going to impact on your business, and when do you need an answer by? Quite often you'll be surprised by the answer, and it's, well, actually, no, I don't need it by 12 o'clock lunchtime. I need it, in the next couple of days. And you start to ask them a bit more about how it impacts on the business. You get a better idea of how important it is. And people respect you if you say, actually, no, I can't do that right now.
Absolutely. So make sure you do book time to have available, but be realistic with your time frames. Really good. Thank you so much, Helen. So thank you, everybody. And cheerio, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.